Okay, so there's a couple other things I want to show you. So if we were looking at JavaScript, I'm trying to do basically a JavaScript class in an hour. And if we were looking at JavaScript, there are 6 data types, okay? So we have looked at 2 of them. Do you know what the 2 data types we've looked at so far are? If you don't know, no worries.
Data.
Actually,
So
3.
string.
String, very good. The first one is a string. So a string is essentially text, exactly right.
Yes, and numbers.
A number, very good. So that's a string data type. Yep, and then you said very correctly, 100% correctly, we have the number data type.
Duo is also the string data type, 30 string data type, and then 0 would be number data type, right?
It would be number.
And then
Look at line 8. Do you know what data type that would be?
no.
That would be the object data type. So this is something we're going to look into this a little more. We're going to look into this a little more in just a minute. But the thing about the object data type, so what objects allow you to do, as I had written here, if you're a Python person, they're the equivalent of dictionaries. And basically they're key value pairs. They have the squiggly brackets on either side. And then they're key value pairs. So your value can be anything. So you can have, so for example, here, what is the data type of inner HTML here?
Object data type, as you said.
Well, this is that's true. So the object data type is here. This whole thing, everything between these squigglies is an object data type. But what I'm asking is just this thing I have highlighted right here. What is
that would be called a string, right?
That's a string. Exactly. And why?
Because it is in single quotes. No, because we are assigning like inner HTML is equals to, and in single quotes we are writing inner HTML, so it would be a string.
Right. So no, it was like you said. It's because it's in quotes, either single or double. Or actually in JavaScript, you can also have these. You can have these kind of weird little quotes. So single, double, or those are all strings. And basically what that means is I want it to be pure text. That's what these quotes means, is like evaluate this, what I write here. Like here, this is a variable name. So just like my favorite number here is a variable name because it's not written in quotes. You can see here, my favorite number is text, but it's not written in quotes, and so it's a variable. If I do write it in quotes, then it's a string, and it's telling the computer evaluate this as text. So that's what a string means. And an object is a composite. It can be, or it isn't necessarily, I guess, a composite data type, where I can also have an object can have both strings and numbers within it. For example, it can have both. It can have any combination of data types. An object can actually contain references to other objects. I could say, inner HTML points to a different object if I wanted. But basically, the idea here is that an object is key value pairs. It's the most complex of the data types. But basically, when you have why is this important? If I want to create a car and as an object and kind of keep it all together, this is getting a little more theoretical than we're going to look at today. But if I want to create a car, and I want it to render on your screen, I need to know maybe the brand. I need to know the color. I need to know the tire size. I'm just making this up. I need to know whether it's an SUV or a wagon or blah blah blah. And so these different pieces of data come together to form a single object. So that's why it's called an object, and the pieces come together, the different properties of the object. That's what this is called, a property or a key. These different properties come together and form a single object. Similarly, when we link to a particular HTML element, the HTML element also has various properties. So here, as we already said, this text between here, which is the text that gets displayed, it says hello to my students, but that's because we overwrote it. Remember, we overwrote this text right here by updating the inner HTML to say this button has been clicked this number of times. So that's one property of this HTML element. The one property is, what is the text it actually displays? What is the inner HTML of the element? Okay. Another property is the event listeners. So here we have the property, it actually calls a function to add an event listener, blah, blah. Don't super worry about that. But it has other properties. Like this button has. Let me give you the example. This button, its inner HTML is click me, but it also has a property that's going to be event listeners, and we
Mm-hmm.
have one event listener that is tied to this function when it gets clicked. So that's an example of another time you need to use objects. So objects are basically a single object has multiple properties. And so this button, for example, has the property of its inner HTML is click me, and it has another property that has an event listener that is tied with this callback function that updates, the inner HTML property of this element over here, for example, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. That sounds good. We may come back to that. We may not. We'll see how we're doing on time. But that's kind of what I wanted to show you. That's just a taste of objects. Objects are not usually something that you would do on day one of JavaScript, I would say. But I try and kind of do that so that you get a full taste of JavaScript, a pretty complete taste in a quick period of time, and you see that and you can reflect on it and kind of think about how, I am as a human have various properties. I'm a single object. We can think of it that way, but I have various properties. Or this cup has various properties. Does it contain water? Is it white? Is it red? Or what does it contain? Water, coffee, juice. It contains coffee. Is it full? Is it empty? Is it dirty? Is it clean? Blah, blah, blah. And so the question is, what is it that you need your program? What are the properties that are relevant to your program? And if they are relevant properties, however, they need to be stored and kind of associated with a single object, and that's why objects have various properties. But that's a little more theoretical. That's a little more that's already reasonably advanced. Like if you're doing that, you're at intermediate JavaScript already. But I did want to kind of give you a taste there.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. Okay, so we have two other data types that I want to talk about in JavaScript today. So the first one, do you have a guess? Any Python experience? What you would guess it might be?
No, no idea.
No worries. So we'll call this data type 4, and it will be a null. And let data type 5 is an undefined. Okay.
Yes.
So.
I think I have never used this data types.
Okay.
Yeah. So even I was not knowing that null and undefined is also different data types which already exist. I was also not knowing that.
Right.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely. So these are unique data types in JavaScript. So null is it's something like so null and undefined are very similar. They are I think this is very fair to say they are like the most similar data types. Oh, and I forgot to show you the last data type in JavaScript. Data type 6. Do you know what a true or false is called?
Boolean.
A Boolean.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly right. Boolean. Very good. So a true or false value is called a Boolean. But let me start back here. So null is one data type. A null essentially means, what does null sound like to you?
Like empty.
Empty.
It contains. Yes.
Very good. I think that's a very fair and healthy way of defining that. So null is what I would frequently define something as. So for example, I might say my favorite student, like I wrote my own name here, but until I meet you, I probably don't even have a favorite student. So for example, like if I'm playing a game, and if I had a web page down here that had a game, and I had to select the favorite student, and there was 3 students and then I can change between them until I select one time. The programmer is probably going to choose to set its initial value to null, which just means it's a lot like undefined, but it basically means I have chosen to put something in there, because undefined typically means, like if I actually just did let data type 5 right now, and then I console.log data type 5, it's null? No. Did I type that wrong? Let data type 5? Console.log. No, it doesn't start as a null. It starts as an undefined. Why is it showing null? Okay, that is very surprising to me right now. Wait, am I seeing this right? Type, colon. It's showing a null? Okay, I'm very surprised by that. I was expecting to show an undefined, but that's okay.
Or in because you are like, I'm not sure, but you are like writing type in the single quotes. That's the reason.
It's not, because I just tried that there.
Okay.
I guess, let me see if I can do, let me try this actually. I see what your point is. Type of data type 5. Okay, it's coming back as an object. Oh, interesting. So I guess that's, I don't know. That's okay. I proved myself wrong, but we will skip over that. I guess that is, I guess it auto defines as a null, which does not sound correct to me, but that's okay. Let me actually check one other thing. Sorry. Console.log data type 5 equals undefined. False. Oh, but it's true. Now let's try null here. True, and let's make it hard equals true. Wow, okay, I guess it does come through automatically as a null. I'm very surprised by that. Okay, so I was incorrect on that front. That was a good learning for me. So anyways, I really thought it came through automatically as an undefined. I almost never do that, but that's very interesting. Anyways, so we have here what I would typically do if I haven't yet selected something, like if I had 3 students, select your favorite student, and before I've clicked on one of them, the value, I would probably set it to null. And that's how I know if, I say while it's null, like while the value has not yet, been set to something else, then, display nothing. And then once it's something else, display the picture of the person who is my favorite student, for example. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Undefined is another data type very similar to null. Obviously, I just confused the two of them. But I would say what it does is it does give you that flexibility to differentiate between null and undefined if you need to. In rare cases, you need to. It kind of gives you that flexibility, but I'm going to skip over that because it's almost always, for me, unimportant. And then finally, the last data type I want to show you is a Boolean. So tell me again, Dirk-T, what a Boolean is?
So it will like return 0 or 1, 0 for true and false, true for 1 and false 0.
Exactly right. So true for 1 or false for 0. So if we console, but that's okay. It will also, it's just a, we're going to do data type, we're just going to log data type 6. We get a true. So the computer does understand true and false. And this is very important for the next thing that I want to show you here today. And that is the if statement. So tell me about an if statement. Do you know a little bit about an if statement, Dirty?
We are writing some condition in if statement, like incrementally, like I equals to 0 or something. Some of the conditions.
Right, absolutely right. Very good. So we will say if my favorite student is Dirty, then, and that's how you write the condition here, this triple equals is different than this single equals. This single equals is an assignment operator. It says assign the value of the thing on the right-hand side of the assignment operator to the variable on the left-hand side. Versus the triple equals sign says if this is equal to this. So this actually returns a Boolean. This is a kind of an inherent function, let's say, a built-in function that returns a Boolean. When I say returns a Boolean, that means it has a value of either true or false. So what that means is if my favorite student is Dirty, aka if we have set the value of my favorite student in memory is Dirty, then we will say hello. Oops. Hello. Hello, Dirty. Here, which we did. So you can see that worked. And if we get rid, we can also change it. If we say if it's not equal to Dirty, it goes away. So let me get rid of this here as well. So it goes away if we say if it's not equal to Dirty, log this. If it is equal to Dirty, log it. So you can see. Or if it's equal to, if instead of Dirty we change it to Joe, Now this is false, right? Because my favorite student we set up here is on line 4. My favorite student has been set equal to Dirty, and so we say if my favorite student is Joe, then do this. What's in between the squiggly brackets? Well, it's not Joe, so we don't do what's in the squiggly brackets. That makes sense, right?
Yes, and also one more question, like in the curly braces, you wrote console.log, and then hello, my favorite student, and in console it is displaying hello and like the name, like my favorite student,
Right.
the value of that particular variable. So like what basically console.log does is like kind of print statement, we can say.
It's 100% a
Or
print statement. It's 100% a print statement. It's just a place to print out whatever information you want to print out. That's what the console is.
yes, like sorry for asking like
No,
basic
no.
questions, but
No, it's important. I appreciate it. Okay, sounds good. Now the great thing about the if statement is you also have the else statement. Oops, the else statement. What do you think the else statement is? Think this might
I
do?
don't know.
Oops. You don't know? Okay, no problem. So we say if my favorite student is Dirty, then, and we'll even move this right up here to make this a little clearer so I don't have to scroll up and down. So hold on one second. So on line 17, we've sent my favorite student to Dirty. Okay. So on line 18, we say if my favorite student is Dirty, then say hello Dirty, or hello my favorite student, which will always evaluate to Dirty essentially in this case, right? Because this will only print if it is Dirty. So otherwise, say I can't believe it's not Dirty. Okay, so let's change it from Dirty to Joe. Now what our if statement prints out, or console.logs, is I can't believe it's not Dirty. Why? Because it checks this condition. My favorite student is equal to Joe. If my favorite student is equal to Dirty, then we console.log hello Dirty. However, it's not equal to Dirty. It's equal to Joe, so this doesn't get run. Instead, that's what the else means. If it's not equal to Dirty, then console.log I can't believe it's not Dirty. So that's what we just saw right here. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, and for the line 17th, like you are just assigning the variable, I mean, assigning the name, and then it will not take the value of triple equals to 30 because you have written Joe. That's why it is taking the value of Joe and not taking the value of 30. It is something like that, or
You're talking about line 19 right here?
yes. So like output, I was concerned about like what should I expect the output.
Right. Okay, understood. So let's start this again. So line 17. Let me even get rid of my favorite student up here, and we're just going to declare this as a const down here. Give me just 1 second. So make some space. We just want to look at this. We don't care about the rest right now. Okay. So on line 18, what do? We declare a space in memory called my favorite student, and that's what this assignment operator is, and we assign a value of Joe to my favorite student. So that's clear, right? So now in computer memory, we have a reserved space called my favorite student, and we assign a value of Joe to that. Then on line 20, we say if my favorite student, check computer memory, and if my computer favorite student is equal to, notice the triple equals. The triple equals means check if the thing on the right-hand side and the left-hand side are equal. So what does my favorite student evaluate to right now?
So right now it is Joe.
Right. So is Joe equal to Dirty?
No.
No. So this will return a false. False.
Okay, got it.
So and so we say if false, but we only do the if statement if it's true, right? So it would say if this is true, then do this, and the else means if it's false, then do that. You see what I'm saying? And so because my favorite student, which is Joe, is equal to dirty returns false, we don't do the if,
Mm-hmm.
but we do the else. And so we
Mm-hmm.
enter the else statement, and then on line 23 it says, I can't believe it's not dirty. So that's what we get down here in the console. It says, I can't believe it's not dirty. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And then similarly here on line 21, if this were true, so let's change my favorite student back to dirty. If my favorite student is dirty, is my favorite student dirty? Is that when it looks in memory here, what value does it get?
Now it is like equals to my favorite student is dirty and the equal to. So it is also the same
Exactly
dirty
right.
equal to. Yeah.
Exactly. So
So we
this
will get
returns a
false.
true. So we do the if, and we don't
Mm-hmm.
do the else. And so that's
Yes.
why we have console.log hello dirty, and that's what we get here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Got
clear?
it.
Any questions?
No.
Okay, great. Okay, it is starting to rain on me. So I have to move my laptop inside right now. I want to show you two things before I do that. So if you come over here to passionclass.com, which is the website we're on right now anyways, you can find me. I do programming classes here. I do live classes just like this. You are welcome to come to my sample classes. You can find them on the website as they're offered. This one obviously you found on the website. I have a programming for complete beginners, which it doesn't have to be beginners for programming, but it does have. I do have JavaScript and Python options, and as well as boot camps for front end development. And also I have a back end development boot camp that I guess I'm not seeing here right now, but it's here as well. But this is I guess I'd have to look for it like this. So if you had a good time, I'm super glad. Tell people about it. If you want to sign up for like a full class with me, passionclass.com. It's passion-class.com. And then you can come over, search for like backend, that's with me, or you can search for programming, for example, and a lot of my classes come right up.